Hi everybody, welcome to our Formweb in 15 Minutes webinar series. My name is Caroline McBreen, I am our COO. I'm joined today by Laura Paxton, our CEO, and Charlene Kristen, our Director of Customer Success. Today we are going to be talking about high-cost drugs, but before we begin, just to share, our next webinar will be on renal dosing. That will be on May 7th. You can see here, you want to scan the QR code to register for that next session, or you can register in the same place that you registered for this session today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Alrighty, so this is Formweb. This is your one-stop medication safety portal, your pharmacy resource center, everything you need to make a clinical decision when you are prescribing a drug. And as I mentioned today, we are going to be talking about high-cost drugs. So this is our Formweb demo site. You can access this by going to formweb.com/demo, and you can see right here our sub-listings. Today we're talking about high-cost drugs. So Laura, let's get into it.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to pull up our
Caroline.
first example right here.
Thank you, Caroline. As you saw on the previous page, Caroline showed the sublistings that are available on the left side in Formweb. So the top of this page, you see high-cost drugs, and if this were at your site or one of our client sites that use this feature, you would see their entire list of drugs that they consider to be high cost. If you look to the right side of this page, you see that this client, in their comments, include the average wholesale price. Now, when you notice that average wholesale price, if all someone needs is just like a little quick snippet and boom, you can go and see this and you can see how much that drug costs, so you can make the decision you need to make about prescribing that drug. You can go here, get that information and get out. But if you need more information, you can click on the actual drug name and you can go to the monograph like you see listed right below, where you see the drug's forms and strengths. You also see on this particular drug if it's formulary, non-formulary, restricted, any additional information you might need. And then scrolling on down, you see policy and procedures, if there are any consults and protocols required for this drug, additional information, and then you see in the green the high-cost drug. Now, in the case of this client, they actually put the average wholesale price on the particular drug monograph, but they also link to a larger document that shows the average wholesale price for all of the drugs that they consider high alert. And you also see that this drug is restricted to clinic use. So that's just one example of how one customer does it. There are others, and here you go. Glucarpidase is a favorite because everyone does that one a little bit differently. So once again, notice that you see the brands, forms, and strengths. You see that this drug is restricted. In this particular client site, this drug requires a second level review, which means that someone in administration has to approve you writing this drug. You see that this drug is formulary, it's restricted, and then you see the guidelines and tip sheet, and you see the cost per vial for this particular drug. So the clinician has everything they need right there to make the decision on what to do about this drug for that particular patient. Then down below, you see another example of a different client, and this client actually shows the average wholesale price for all of their medications, whether they're super expensive or they're inexpensive. And what they do is quarterly, they send us a file that we upload into Formweb that updates the average wholesale price for all of the drugs in their formulary. In the Formweb editor, there are so many opportunities to customize these drugs, and one of the examples you see here is that we have a cost field. And in the example here, you see that the cost field has the label high cost drug. So a client could go in and create the label high cost drug, and then they can either put the actual cost of the drug in there, or as Charlene said, you can put a legend in like $1 sign for something that's inexpensive and $4 signs for something that's super expensive, like you're on TripAdvisor looking at a hotel cost or something. So there are a lot of ways that our clients do this. and you've seen a few. Charlene, when clients are listing these high-cost drugs, I know that there was one example of someone who puts the average wholesale price in for everything, even if it's a half a penny. What are examples that you see most likely on these high-cost drugs of the ones that clients delineate and show?
Right. Well, I think most of the time it's drugs that are used in oncology, your chemotherapies, your MABs, things like that. And then, of course, you have some drugs that are used in the ED, such as your thrombolytics, whatever they're giving to TIA patients. And then some of the newer antibiotics, of course, are extremely expensive. So the antivirals. So, yeah, that's a little bit of everything, but there's high-cost drugs all over the place.
And the GLPs.
Oh, yes, the GLPs.
The GLPs. Okay. All right. Okay. So thanks again for listening. And thank you, Charlene, for giving us a little bit of color around that. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you joining. We've kept you here for under 15 minutes. So again, our next webinar will be on renal dosing. That will be on May 7th. And we're including the link to register right here. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Nice.